Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the first unit in history, which is Advent of the Europeans. We have already seen about Advent of the Europeans, Portugal. Under Portugal we have Prince Henry of Portugal, Bartholomew Dias, Vasco da Gama, Francisco de Almeida, Alfonso de Albuquerque and Nino de Cunha. Students, can you guess what these images are? I hope you will be able to get it by the end of the lesson. Synopsis of the lesson. In this session, we are going to see the following topics: the Dutch in Tamil Nadu, the British, Danish, the French, and recap. First, we are going to learn about the Dutch. The Dutch followed the Portuguese into India. In 1602, the United East India Company of Netherlands was formed and it received the sanction means approval of their government to trade in East India. After their arrival in India, the Dutch founded their first factory in Masulipatinam, Andhra Pradesh in 1605. This company captured Amboina from the Portuguese in 1605 and established its supremacy. Supremacy means power in the Spice Islands. They captured Nagapattinam near Madras from the Portuguese and made this place as their stronghold in South India. At first, Pulicat was their headquarters. Later, they shifted it to Nagapattinam in 1690. The most important Indian commodities. Here, commodities means materials or items traded by the Dutch were silk. Silk means thread or fabric made from the fiber produced by the silkworm. Cotton. Cotton means a soft, white fibrous substance which surrounds the seeds of the cotton plant and is made into textile fiber and thread for sewing. Indigo. Indigo means the dark blue dye obtained from the indigo plant. Rice. Rice is the small seeds of a particular type of grass cooked and eaten as food. Opium. Opium is a highly addictive narcotic drug acquired from the opium poppy. They monopolized the trade in black pepper and other spices. Here, monopolized means controlled. So, they controlled the trade in black pepper and other spices. The important factories in India were Pulicat, Surat, Chinsura, Kasim, Bazar, Patna, Nagapattinam, Balasur, and Cochin. The English East India Company remained engaged in rivalry, which means opposition with the Portuguese and the Dutch throughout the 17th century. In 1623, the Dutch cruelly killed 10 English traders and 9 Javanese in Amboina. This incident accelerated, which means speed up the rivalry. Rivalry means opposition between the two European companies. Their final collapse means suddenly fall down, came with their defeat by the English in the Battle of Bidira in 1759. The Dutch lost their settlements one by one to the English and was completely wiped out by the year 1795. Next, we are going to learn about Dutch in Tamil Nadu. The Portuguese who established a control over Pulicat since 1502 were overthrown by the Dutch. In Pulicat, the Dutch built the fort Gildria in 1613. This fort was once the seat of Dutch power. Then the Dutch established their settlement at Pulicat in 1610. After that, diamonds were exported from Pulicat to the western countries. The other Dutch colonial forts and possessions, here possessions means ownership, were Nagapattinam, Punnagayal, Porto Novo, Kadalur and Devanampattinam. Next, we are going to see the British. On 31st December 1600, Elizabeth, the Queen of England, granted a charter. Here charter means permit or authority to the governor and Company of Merchants of London to trade with East Indies. Here we can see the picture of Elizabeth, the Queen of England. Then the company was headed by a governor and a court of 24 directors. Captain Hawkins visited Jahangir's court in 1608 to get certain concessions for the company. Here concession means adjustments. So Captain Hawkins visited Jahangir's court in 1608 to get certain adjustments for the company. Here we can see the picture of Captain Hawkins and Jahangir. He secured permission to raise a settlement at Surat. Here secured means got. So he got permission to raise a settlement at Surat. However, the emperor cancelled the permission under the pressure from the Portuguese. In 1612, the English captain Thomas Best inflicted means forced a severe defeat over the Portuguese in a naval battle near Surat. Here we can see the picture of Captain Thomas Best. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir permitted the English to establish their factory in 1613 at Surat, which initially became the headquarters of the English in Western India. Here we can see the picture of Jahangir. Captain Nicholas Downton won another decisive victory over the Portuguese in 1614. Here decisive means deciding or major. Victory means success or win. So Captain Nicholas Downton won another major win over the Portuguese in 1614. Here we can see the picture of Captain Nicholas Downton. These events enhanced the British prestige, which means status, at the Mughal court. In 1615, Sir Thomas Roe was sent to Jahangir's court by King James I of England. Here we can see the picture of Sir Thomas Roe. He remained at Agra for 3 years and succeeded in concluding a commercial treaty with the emperor. Here commercial means trade. Trade means the action of buying and selling goods and services. Treaty means agreement. Before the departure of Sir Thomas Roe, the English had established their trading centers at Surat, Agra, Ahmedabad and Brouch. On the coastline of the Bay of Bengal, the English established their first factory in 1611. at Masulipattnam, an important port. Port means harbour in the territory of the Kingdom of Golconda. In 1639, the English merchant Francis Day obtained Madras as a lease. Lease means rental from Chinnappa Nayaka, the ruler of Chandragiri. The East India Company built its famous factory known as Fort St. George in Madras, which became their headquarters for the whole of the eastern belt and first fort built by British. Here we can see the picture of St. George Fort in Chennai. Then King Charles II of England received the island of Bombay as a part of his dowry from the Portuguese king on the occasion of his marriage with Catherine. Here we can see the picture of King Charles II. In 1668, the East India Company acquired the island at an annual rent of £10 from Charles II. In 1690, a factory was established at Suttanuti by Job Charnock. The zamindari of the three villages of Suttanuti, Kalikata and Govindpur was acquired. Acquired means gained by the British in 1698. These villages later grew into the city of Calcutta. The factory at Suttanuti was fortified in 1696. Here fortified means to make something stronger, especially in order to protect it. And this new fortified settlement was named as Fort William in 1700. After the Battle of Palsy in 1757 and the Battle of Buxar in 1764, the company became a political power. India was under the East India Company's rule till 1858. After, it came under the direct administration of the British Crown. Next, we are going to learn about Danish. On March 17, 1616, the King of Denmark, Christian IV, issued a charter. Here charter means permit or authority, and created a Danish East India Company. Here we can see the picture of the King of Denmark, Christian IV. They established a settlement at Trangubar, which means Tamil Nadu, in 1620, and Sirambur, which means Bengal, in 1676. Sirambur was their headquarters in India. They failed to strengthen themselves in India, and they sold all their settlement in India to the British in 1845. Next, we are going to learn about the French. The French East India Company was formed in 1664 by Colbert, a minister of King Louis XIV. Here we can see the picture of King Louis XIV. In 1667, a French expedition, which means journey, came to India under Francois Caron. France was the last European country to come India as traders. Caron founded the first French factory in India at Surat. In 1669, Markara founded second French factory at Masulipattnam by securing a patent. Patent means license from the Sultan of Golconda. In 1673, the settlement of Pondicherry was founded by Martin under a grant from Sher Khan Lodi, the ruler of Bijapur. Pondicherry became the most important and prosperous French settlement in India. A fort known as Saint Louis was built by Francois Martin in Pondicherry. In 1673, the French obtained permission from Shasta Khan, the Mughal Subadar, governor of Bengal, to establish a township at Chandranagpur near Calcutta. The French East India Company was established factories in different parts of India, particularly in the coastal regions such as Mahe, Karaikal, Balasore and Kuzim Bazar. These were a few important trading centers of the French East India Company. The vision of the French power in India was further reinforced by the appointment of Joseph Francois Dupleix as the governor of the French East India Company in 1742. He succeeded Dumas as the French governor of Pondicherry. Since the Portuguese were eliminated by the Dutch and the latter extinguished means ended by the English, the French were left to face the English for control over trade and territory, which means area. The French neglected trade and entangled means twisted themselves in wars with Indian and other European powers. The three Carnatic Wars ruined the French and rejuvenated, which means renew, the English to embark means begin or start on a systematic territorial expansion. The comparative success of the British over the Portuguese, the Dutch, the Danish and the French was largely due to their commercial competitiveness, spirit of supreme sacrifice, government support, naval superiority, national character and their ascendancy in Europe. Ascendancy means domination in Europe. Now, I hope you all found what these pictures are. In the first picture, we can see Fort Gildria. In the second picture, we can see cotton. In the third picture, we can see St. George Fort in Chennai. In the fourth picture, we can see silk. In the fifth picture, we can see Elizabeth, the Queen of England. And in the sixth picture, we can see King Charles II. Now, let's recap the lesson. Anandarangam is a name to conjure with in the annals of Tamil history. The Madras Record Office, known as Tamil Nadu Archives (TNA), is located in Chennai. Prince Henry of Portugal is commonly known as the Navigator. The Blue Water Policy was followed by Almeida. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir permitted the English East India Company to establish their factory in 1613 at Surat. French East India Company was formed in 1664 by Colbert. Then final point is Pondicherry became the most important and prosperous French settlement in India. I have enclosed the classbook instructions in the PDF. Kindly refer it. So now we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.